What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down everything you need to know about the stock split that's coming up tomorrow. When is it happening? What does this mean for Tesla? How this may affect the share price for the future, and everything that could be coming out given the circumstances in the market. Now, before I say anything about this, before I compare this to other stock splits, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is you could always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and buy some Tesla shares for free. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just a week. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So obviously Tesla was a little bit down on Friday, down about 2.05%. And some people have argued that we are seeing this cup and handle that formed right here. Now, although I could actually argue that, and I do think it's very likely we see some upside going into next week because we have the stock split coming, I don't think it's going to last very, very long. That's just my honest opinion. You can see right here, Tesla had this inverse head and shoulders that formed. We actually came back right over here to where the top was, but then we got a big rejection very, very close to that same range, and we did start to come down. So you could also argue it's a cup and handle. Sure, we should get a nice push to the upside next week sometime, but I do see a rejection coming a little bit sooner than some people would expect, followed by more potential downside, unfortunately. I want to show you guys an example of this and why I think that's very likely. I already mentioned that the SPY is looking kind of choppy. It could push up just a little bit. Maybe Tesla will push up the SPY to fill the gap, but I do see this actually coming down later on, and that's because of the FOMC meeting, because of uncertainty in the markets and from the Fed and other factors like that. Now, considering that the market is a little bit bearish right now, it's a little bit more bearish than bullish and a little bit more on the fearful side. We were in a very similar state for Amazon, and I want to actually show you guys the Amazon stock split. So before I actually talk about that, 1 second, Amazon announced a 20-for-1 stock split and a $10 billion buyback. This was back in June. So they announced this in March, but it actually happened in June. I want to actually talk about this. What happened to Amazon when they did this? Well, it happened in June, right? And June was actually more of a bearish month for the markets. I'm sure you guys remember that. Look at what happened to Amazon. The first thing I want to tell you guys is this is what Tesla's chart might look like a little bit later. Just because there's this giant gap here, it's not a real gap. It's just the chart adjusting for the split. That's all it is. It's not a true gap. So don't think that this thing is going to fill the gap and just explode. That's not actually an example of it. But look at what happened going into the stock split. Even though the market was not in its best state, going into it, Amazon was at $2,000 a share. And this thing actually managed to rally all the way up to 2,500, right? Nice move. 2,500. Then we got the big stock split, and Amazon actually split 20-for-1. So what happened to Amazon after that was the market was bearish, and Amazon ended up tanking. Now, I'm not saying this will happen to Tesla, but just hear me out. Amazon went from like 125 a share. It was actually green on the day that this happened, the stock split. Then it slowly started to drop with the overall market all the way down to 100. So it dropped like by some degree, like 25%. That's a big drop. It was actually 20%, sorry. And that just goes to show how powerful the overall market is. Now, in Tesla's case, I think this thing has the potential to rally going into the split. I really think it could. Now, after the split, will it continue to rally? It is still possible because of the perceived value, but I still see downside. That's just my honest opinion in the markets because of everything that's going on. And I really believe the downside is powerful. It's so powerful it actually pushed Amazon down, which is one of the best stocks in history. At the end of the day, it probably is still going to affect Tesla in the later weeks as we approach September. I just want to warn you guys about that right now, but we don't have to speculate too much. I want to now transition into what's going on with this stock split. How is this actually going to work? So a lot of people out there are talking about how anyone wanting to receive 2 extra shares for each Tesla share, they need to own Tesla by August 17th. Although there's truth behind that, that would be the record date on paper. It's not actually true. It's not true because if you're holding Tesla shares from now until then, they're going to split. All Tesla shares are going to split anyways. So it doesn't matter. There's no one specific date to be holding your Tesla shares except for the 24th. So if you're holding your shares through the 24th, the next day is going to come. That's going to be the 25th, and that's when the split is going to happen. It's a 3-for-1 split. Are you getting free money? The answer is technically no, but you are getting more Tesla shares, and that could lead to something big. So let me break this down in the most simple way possible. All right? In case you're confused, let's say it's August 24th. For example, I have one Tesla share. It's worth $900. All right? Let's just say, for example, we're just going to go with some easy numbers. The total value of my portfolio would be $900 because I just have one Tesla share. Remember, this is the 24th of August. I was holding it like for the whole year, just to let you guys know that. And I'm not saying it's real. It's just an example. Anyways, the 25th comes, all right? The 25th comes. This is the day of the stock split. Now it's going to turn into 3 Tesla shares, but they're each going to be worth $300. So that's the total value of my portfolio, if that's all I have, would be $900 still. But there's a difference. Each of the shares are worth only $300 now, and I have 3 of them. So see how I got 2 extra shares, but they're actually worth less. So is this a bad thing or a good thing? And here's where I want to actually break this down for you guys. So when it comes to the Tesla stock split, I want to talk about something else that's very important. I have an article that actually highlights everything that you need to know. When it comes to the split, it's going to take place on August 25th, 2022. And wherever Tesla closes on August 24th, wherever it is, whether it's like 900, 960 a share, the number is going to be taken and then split in thirds. And you're going to start to see the new value on August 25th. Now, remember, the outstanding shares are going to triple. So every share you have is going to be multiplied by 3. But the value of each one is going to be 1/3 as before, opening more doors and more growth potential. The magnitude is once again a 3-for-1 stock split. So be ready and don't freak out if you see a big drop in the price. Once again, they're tripling the outstanding shares. The next thing is the real winner is actually going to be a lot of retail investors, lots of everyday investors, because they are actually key for the markets. There are millions of everyday investors around, and what's happening is there are actually a lot of investors that don't have fractional shares available. They can't buy like 1/10 of a share, 1/5 of a share. So now, if they want to buy Tesla like right now, they have to pay $900 for every single one of the shares. It's very expensive, and lots of retail investors can't afford that. But after the split, the price may be like $300, for example. If that's the case, more investors could buy into it, leading to more potential FOMO, a lot more buyers that could really boost the price. This will also affect the options chain. So options are also going to become a lot cheaper. This could lead to a lot more gamma, a lot of more volatile price action in some sense, but there are actually different ways to perceive that. I'm going to show you that in a couple of minutes. Will this affect Tesla's competitive advantages? The answer is no. It won't end up doing that because this is not necessarily a fundamental move. As awesome as stock splits are, they're not improvements to the fundamentals of a company. So we shouldn't necessarily like 10x in value over a year just because of a stock split alone. There has to be a big fundamental aspect of that too. This is not a big fundamental move they're making, and it should not be perceived that way. I know there's going to be a lot of FOMO, lots of buying in, which is awesome because it changes the perceived value, but it's not necessarily a fundamental move. You have to remember that. Now, what else is very big? It doesn't really hide their long-term risks. I guess you could say that, but I don't see this as a big point that's too important because Tesla doesn't have as many long-term risks as other companies out there. In fact, I think that this is going to improve them in lots of different ways. It can help them raise a lot more money. It can help them do other big things out there because more and more people could buy those dips. So here's just more of a highlight of it. There's going to be more perceived value. And let me show you another example of that. Not only is the stock going to look cheaper, but also when it comes to volatility, there's a big difference. So let's just actually look at this. So imagine this. Imagine the share price is at $300. For there to be a 33% increase, it has to go from 300 to 400, which does not actually seem like that much, but it actually is a lot. That's over, hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap that would change just from an increase like that. Now, right now, For Tesla to increase by 33%, let's just say the share price is at 900, we would have to go all the way up to 1200 a share. See how we have to increase by $300 right now, or around $300 for us to get that 33% increase. If it's $300 after the split happens, it just has to increase $100 for there to be that 33% increase. So there's this huge difference in how volatile it may perceive to be on a dollar basis. Now, it's probably going to be just as volatile when it comes to the percentage basis, so how it moves like 5% in a day, 10%, but based off the dollar value alone, it's not going to be the same. It's going to look a lot smaller. And what's also really good about this is if this $300 ends up dipping down to like the 200s, 250, 270, a lot more buyers could actually step in to buy these dips because of the perceived value change. They're going to look at Tesla. It's only $250. We need to buy in, right? There's a big difference now. Additionally, like I mentioned, options are going to be cheaper. All right. We're going to see a lot more cheaper options, which means that if Tesla does get a big increase in the buying pressure and the share price ends up going up, a lot of calls ending up in the money could lead to a lot more gamma potential. So a lot of the market makers would have to essentially delta hedge, which is them buying back the share price to hedge for the new share price Tesla reaches. So what this essentially means is there could be more upside potential and more potential squeezes because the options chain would become a lot cheaper. Now, when it comes to FOMO, I do think there's going to be FOMO before the split happens, but in the future, right? In the future, there could be even more FOMO as more and more buyers could afford these shares. Lots of big companies like Apple do these stock splits. So does Amazon. It really helps them in terms of how many buyers could end up stepping in to buy and hold the shares for more and more growth. Now, the last thing to remember, it's not a fundamental change. It opens more doors. There could be more FOMO, more buyers, more cheaper options, but this is not a fundamental improvement to Tesla. So we should not look at it that way. And when it comes to some big moves, like I mentioned earlier, all right, it's an amazing move that they're doing. Like, we're going to see Tesla make some nice moves probably before the split happens. But afterwards, if the whole market is taking a big hit, Tesla could still get hit because of that, because this has more to do with the economy we're in, what's happening to the Fed, and additional factors that will affect it from there. With that said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great rest of the day and get ready for the stock split. Because when it comes to the Tesla share price, a lot more buyers will be stepping in to buy those dips. If it dips to like the high 200s, for example, or even like 300, a lot more people could just buy in, especially retail investors. People will be excited, especially because of the options chain, allowing for more potential for gamma and even more volatility thanks to market makers. With that said, this may not be a fundamental improvement to Tesla, but this will be big for more investors, opening a lot more doors. And I am very, very proud of Tesla for the big improvements they make on a daily basis. With that said and done, thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is very bright, and peace out.